Hello everyone and welcome to another video. I really like the Super Smash Bros. Games, and I've always wanted Jibanyan or some other Yokai Watch character to be a playable fighter. This video was inspired by BrawlFan1, who makes Smash movesets for all sorts of characters, including some Yokai Watch ones, which is why I'm not doing Jibanyan, Komasan or Venoct. I'll leave a link to his channel in the description. I highly recommend watching his videos if you like this kind of thing. Now, one Yokai Watch character I haven't really seen talked about in terms of getting into Smash is Gargaros. In my opinion, he's a perfect choice to represent the bosses in these games, as he appears in literally every single one, well except the Y School Heroes, at least I think. And is a very iconic boss. One more thing is that I'm terrible at Smash, so let me know if you think some of these moves wouldn't work or if you'd change anything. Without further ado, let's get into the video. I want to start with his appearance and costume, because they may or may not affect visuals of some of the moves. I've chosen to use the boss form rather than the friend form, because it's more iconic and wouldn't really represent the bosses if it wasn't a boss. You also can't make the excuse that he would be too big to use a boss form, because Ridley. Just because he doesn't look like the friend form doesn't mean some moves won't take inspiration from the friend form though. Anyway, for the costumes, the default would obviously be regular red Gargaros. The second would be Ogrelus. The third would be Arcanos, and the fourth would be Gilgos, with a slightly tweaked design to look more like the others. Each of these would have one alternate colour. Gargos would have a red and pink one inspired by Zomgirls, and I guess Zombie Knight in general, as that's the BBQ version of Terror Time. Ogrelus would get a purple colour inspired by the Patrol Eyes or even Devourer. Arcanos would get an orange and green alt to reference Sergeant Burley, as not only is he an Oni, but he's the leader of the Blasters, which the Onis are heavily featured in. And also, Sergeant Burley is the one who plays Arcanos in the Momonyan mission. Finally, Gilgros would get a grey silver alt based on Platinos and the grayscale aesthetic of Terror Time. For his stats, he'd obviously be a heavy, not too fast, and have 2 jumps. Let's start with the basic attacks. For his jab, Gargos would swing his bat horizontally twice and end with a vertical swing, just like we see in Yokai Watch 4. His side tilt would simply be a basic iron swing. His up tilt would have him swing his bat above his head, and the down tilt would have him thrust his bat horizontally on the ground. Excuse my crappy drawings, I just wanted to make something to show what the move looks like rather than just me describing it, which can be a bit harder to visualize. Also, please ignore the lags, I couldn't get them right in any of the drawings, so you'll just be stuck looking at stick lags or whatever else I do. Finally, for the basic attacks, his dash attack would have him use Clobber, the vertical swing we see the friend form use. Now for his aerials. His neutral air would have him swing his bat horizontally around him, similar to DK's air. His forward air would have him swing the bat vertically forward like Clobber. For his back air, he would swing it behind him. His up air would have him thrust his head upwards, using his spike, or spikes, to damage the foe. Finally, for down air, it would be like Crash Landing, or when he jumps you in Terror Time, except without the jumping part. He would start coming down pretty quickly, and when he lands, he would do damage to foes standing next to where he landed. Now for the smash attacks. For his side smash, he would use a mighty attack that the friend form uses in Blasters. The up smash would basically be the same as up tilt, swinging the bat over his head. For the down smash, he would use Cluster Boom, a move Arcanos does in Yokai Watch 3. There would be 2 Oni bombs, one either side. As an added detail, if playing as Ogrelus, the bombs are replaced with waterfalls. It would only make sense as he's a technique using one, and waterfall kinda works similarly anyway. The hitboxes would stay the same, as this is only an aesthetic change. Now we're moving on to the grabs. Gargos would grab with a non-batting hand and would pummel with a headbutt once again, stabbing the foe with his horn, or horns. The forward throw would have him use a technique in front of him, which would launch the foe forward. If you're playing as Gargos, this would be Incinerate, Ogrelus would be Waterfall, Arcanos would be Reaper, and Gilgros would be Lightning. This would once again be a purely aesthetic change. I wanted to represent the technique somehow, and I think this works. For his back throw, he would swing his bat behind him, which would launch the foe backwards. For the up throw, he could throw the foe a little bit in the air before smacking them with his bat, sending them flying. Finally, the down throw could have him swing his bat downward and bury the foe on the ground. Now, for his special attacks. For his neutral special, he would pull out an Oni Bomb, which would initially act as an item. If anyone's hit by it, the Oni Bomb attaches to their head and explodes a few seconds later. The side special would be Oni Slot, a move he uses in blasters where he charges forward. This would deal quite a lot of damage, but as a trade-off it would have quite a bit of end lag like in the original game. The up special would have him use the tornado attack that Arcanos uses in Blaster in 3 to gain height like a helicopter. Similarly to Link or DK's up special, he won't gain height when used on the ground, but he can move a little bit horizontally. Finally, the down special would just simply be Guard. Guard only felt right here as, first off, the Onis are some of the only bosses that can guard. Secondly, the Onis are known for being incredibly tanky and defensive as stated in the game. And finally, Arcanos Friend Form and Gargaros are both considered tanks and blasters, and can both guard, and even Gargaros and Ogrelus Friend Forms have quite a lot of defense. Anyway, the attack would look and function like in blasters. A shield pops up in front of him and he takes reduced damage and knockback. This wouldn't last too long and would have a cooldown which could be seen next to the percentage, and would look just like the original game. Now for the final smash. I call it Triple Beatdown. The final smash would start by Gargaros swinging his bat in front of him, sending the foe flying, like what he does in Yokai Watch 2 Terror Time. The foe is then sent to a location in Springdale in the middle of Terror Time. This could really work anywhere, but in my head I picture it taking place just below Triangle Park. Regardless of your ult, you then see regular Gargaros in midair holding his bat above him about to do his ultimate, Nightmare Beat. Then you see Ogrelus doing the same thing, and then Arcanos. All three bats then hit the foe at the same time, which ends the final smash. Pretty epic if you ask me. As an added detail, both Arcanos variants would gain his war paint he has in 2, and if he does it again the war paint would disappear, because in blasters his war paint disappears after his ultimate, and I wanted to include it somehow, without it being part of an ult. The reason Gargaros isn't part of it is because he's a more friendly Oni, which is why he's befriendable and never fought as a boss, though the name of the final smash, Triple Beatdown, references the name of his ultimate, Golden Beatdown. Now for the taunts. His up taunt would have him scream like the Onis do when they appear in Terror Time. The side taunt would have him looking both sides like the Onis do at the start of battle. And the down taunt would have him angrily smack the ground like what he does when you mess around with the system clock. His victory theme would be the end of his battle theme from 2 onwards. And the results theme would be replaced by the blaster results theme. The first victory pose would simply be the default win animation for the friend forms and Gargaros, putting the bat down on the ground and standing on it while screaming. The second would have him send the opponent flying like in Yokai Watch 2 Terror Time, and then stand looking at the camera. The final victory pose would start with nothing on screen, then Gargaros jumps down like the cutscenes before their second phase in blasters, and it could also reference when they jump to you in Terror Time. If Gargaros was a DLC character and came to the stage, I would make it Nighttime Springdale. It would be based off the main areas in Yokai Watch 1 minus Mount Wildwood, with it getting slowly darker until the stage transports into Terror Time, and maybe Patrol Eyes could act as stage shadows or something. I haven't really given this too much thought, especially for the layouts. I said it would be based off the main areas of Yokai Watch 1, but I'm unsure whether I would make it random like Minecraft World, or maybe it could even transport you to different places using Mirror before it becomes Terror Time. Even then, I have no idea what the layouts would be. For his boxing ring title, it took me a while, but I came up with Every Child's Nightmare, or at least something along those lines. I also thought of Tough Stuff, because the Onis are very defensive and from the Tough tribe, whose summoning song this is a reference to. I think I like Every Child's Nightmare more, but let me know in the comments. The final thing I'll cover today would be Gargaros' classic mode route. It would simply be titled Terror Time. In Yokai Watch games, Terror Time is used to punish misbehaving children, so this classic mode would have him beat up children. The stages would very loosely represent the main areas of Yokai Watch 1, as well as being from the character's home series. The first battle would be against Ness and Lucas on One It, which represents Uptown Springdale, as both are the starting areas of their respective games and fill a kind of similar role. I haven't finished Earthbound yet, but I'm assuming that it does. You would then fight Inkling Girl and Inkling Boy, replace one with Octoling if they get added, on Moray Towers, which represents Blossom Heights, due to Moray Towers being a more vertical Splatoon stage, and Blossom Heights is a more vertical part of Springdale. I mean, it's in the name, Blossom Heights. It would then be Pokemon Trainer and Pichu on Saffron City, to represent downtown Springdale, because Saffron is one of the biggest cities in Kanto, and a lot of important buildings, which I guess is pretty similar to downtown. Next will be Diddy Kong and Bowser Jr. on Luigi's Mansion, to represent Breezy Hills. Breezy Hills is seen as the rich side of Springdale, and rich people are known for having mansions. Also in Yokai Watch 1 you fight Phantasma in Breezy Hills, who might not be a ghost but definitely looks like one. You then fight Young Link and Pit on Bridge of Eldin, which represents Shopper's Row. I couldn't really think of a better stage from either series for this, but I guess you could see the long bridge like the long Flower Road, but it's a lot more of a stretch. Let me know if you come up with something better. Finally, before the boss, you would fight 4 characters to represent the B-Team on Night Springdale, because Blasters takes place in Terror Time, and one of the main goals at the start of Blasters is to beat Gargaros. You could probably think of better ones, but the ones I came up with is Orange Little Mac for Sergeant Burley, Orange Incineroar for Boss Signaton, Pac-Man for Mr. Happier, and Rosalina for Blizzy. For the boss I went with Ganon because he's also like a big monster type thing like Gargaros. I went with him over others because this is Ocarina of Time Ganon who fought Young Link. At least I think, I don't really play Zelda, who is a child, and Gargaros also fights children as seen in this classic mode. Well, that's what I came up with for if Gargaros was in Smash. If you would change anything about this or disagree with what I went with, please let me know in the comments. This is a very fun video to make, and I might make more in the future if enough people want to. I just want to say again to check out Brawl Fan 1 if you haven't already, because his movesets are really good and was a big inspiration for this video. Anyway, like and sub if you like this or want to see more, and comment what yokai you want to see me make a Smash moveset for next. Eat your tasty pasta, and I'll see you in the next one. Okay, so last scrapped video, sorry about that by the way. It really wasn't interesting, the script just, whatever. But yeah, so that was a short video. And this is also a shorter video, so I'm still getting my shorter video. Anyway, yeah, I'll see you.